Hey, so it's William again, and I have a couple new things to show off here. This here's my sliver katana. And it has a couple of features I haven't really tried before. One is what I'm calling my hardcore handle, because it has a hollow aluminum extrusion for the handle. And that allows a couple of things. It allows me to use a shorter tang, which greatly changes the balance and the harmonics. And also lets me buy standard steel in 36-inch lengths, but have a longer overall length. But it also allows me to have a wrapped handle that's removable. So if you drift this pin out, it doesn't matter which way you drift it out, and then you'll probably need to drift it out from the hollow here, but you can get the blade out, and then you can refinish it if it's horribly rusty or scratched or whatever. It also allows changing the balance if you want, because you can fill that with lead or epoxy, or I am going to offer sort of accessory tips eventually that will fit in to the butt here, so you can add some weight back there, or say an aluminum pommel just to give it a more finished look, or a pry bar tip, or whatever tactical spike you want there. As usual, the handle is vacuum impregnated, so it's like micarta that's been wrapped around. I shouldn't say that, it's not quite like micarta that's been wrapped around, because after pulling vacuum it's just free to cure. It's not held under pressure during the cure, other than the tension that I put on it from wrapping. The finish is pretty basic. If you say you don't care about the finish, this is what it comes out as. It's fairly flat and consistent, but there's a couple of spots where the scratch pattern's not perfectly perpendicular to the edge or even parallel to itself. And there's just a hint of faceting in a couple of spots. And the camera hardly picks that up. I mean, that could all be oil smears for as much as the camera knows. I just ground this in because there's not a lot of distal taper on this blade. So this is the prototype of this handle. We'll see how well it holds up. It's kind of a pain to change it. I wouldn't, change it in the field. What else is new about this? The curvature. There's a lot more curve here than I normally put on. Curves are expensive. Because you need more steel to do it. And this is about as much curve as you can do and still get it into the scabbard easily. So any more, then you have to be extremely strict about following the curvature out of the scabbard. And yeah, this is about where I'm comfortable. I don't really see the point of having more curvature than that anyway. Anything else about the scabbard? For this type of blade, traditionally there would be a habaki here, which is a taper fit into the scabbard. It's an expensive feature, adding a habaki, and I think it kind of looks weird with the ricasso. So if I'm using a habaki, generally I'll run the bevels all the way through, more like a traditional sword. So points of contact in the scabbard are, at the north and south positions, never from the side. On a nicely finished blade, you'll be scratching the side of the blade if they're touching on the side, and it's more likely, I think, to split the scabbard open. So north and south, just get a good quality fabric tape and then as it wears in, you can just add another piece. This is a very basic scabbard, as you can see. There's not even an oil finish on it. I just assume people will want to fix it up to the way they use it. Yeah. Interesting, that is 2 pounds 3 ounces. And here's an older blade, which is 4 pounds 3.5 ounces. It's way shorter, as you can see. It's much wider in the handle. And that actually worked just fine for me, but I can see where it doesn't work for everybody. I have large hands, but they're not huge. Handles that are wide tend to sit in my hand better. So that's over 5 inches in circumference on this, and this is only like 4 1/4. You can always add more wrapping. You can't really take it off. Anyway, this is ridiculously heavy. It was ground from 5/8 stock. I don't build them like this. I would consider doing some in this thick again, but not quite this way. Yeah. It's pretty dated, but it worked. The edge is pretty thin for what it is. So there you go, a couple new swords, well, new old. This one's been around for a long time, but it's never really been featured.